Hello, welcome to a late night lounge here on Latte Firm. It's Friday, the 25th of April. May is upon us, as is the semi-final of the Champions League coming to the Emirates next week, the first leg. How exciting is that? Welcome, one and all. I hope you've all had a good week. Hope you're all in good health. Hope you've had an excellent Easter. Hope you're recovered and back at work or uni or school or whatever it is that you do. Come and tell me in the chat what you've been up to and how things are going. Packed show tonight. We're hoping that Mbappe will join us shortly. He's just had to go out to the pharmacy, hence the late start. I'm hoping he'll be back, but Wayne is indeed in the background in the green room. Tonight, we're going to look back at the Crystal Palace game, 2-2 in the week at the Emirates. More points dropped, 13 draws now for Arsenal this season in the Premier League. We'll look back at the game, what it means, and of course, it does mean that Liverpool will have a chance to win their second asterisked title of their Premier League history this weekend against a scum, who, of course, I'm sure will just pull their pants down and bend over. We'll also start to think about PSG. They're on the horizon. They're on the radar. How's it feeling? We've got some history with PSG. In 1994, when Mbappe and Mbappe are old enough to remember, we beat them by 2-1 on aggregate, 1-0 at Highbury, on our way to a famous Cup Winners' Cup win against Parma in Copenhagen. So really interested to reminisce about that. And of course, more recently this season, we beat them 2-0 at the Emirates. Then there's also been news about a Tifo, or not having a Tifo at the Emirates Stadium. I want to get your thoughts on that. There's been loads of social posts going around. I want to get your thoughts on what the club have now actually unveiled or are thinking of unveiling via Red Action Gooners. So welcome to the show. Tuck in, enjoy the chat, enjoy the channel. If you are new, of course, please do subscribe to the channel and like all the stuff and get involved in the chat. And that's where we're going to head exactly straight away. V Vlad, welcome to the show. Says, good evening, guys. Great to see FK and Mbappe on the pre-match show on the other night. Come on, you Gunners. Thank you for that. Really appreciate that, V Vlad. We, of course, were guests on Live from N5, the Arsenal Matchday show on Arsenal.com. Really, really grateful for the invite. So good to be involved with the club. Bit of a damp squib in terms of game, but always great to go and represent. Afsar says, bonjour. Just a reminder that the PSG game will be a lot harder than Real Madrid as they are very organised as a team. PSG did smash Liverpool both home and away, but I believe PSG are losing currently in League 1. I'll bring in Wayne to tell us more about that. Alpha, hello to you, my man. Says, evening lounge lads, hope you're all well. Mr. FK, did you try the patties from the place I sent you opposite the station? I'm waiting for your review. Snack check anxiety kicking in. I'm yet to try the patties. I haven't got one tonight for a snack view. Snake view. That is a little slip there. For a snack check, sorry. But I will do it for the next game. Thank you for that, Dan. Do share in the chat the name of the place, just in case there are any other Londoners who might be interested. Donald, welcome to the show. Hope you've had a smashing week. Says, I just watched PSG given a hiding at home to Nice. PSG are under pressure already. A good time right now to play them. Let's hope so. I believe they made some substitutions. They played full strength. And of course, they are getting beaten at the moment. Dave, Gooner73 says, hello, fellow Gooners. Another Patreon giveaway. You spoil us, Latte Firm Ultras FK. That's right. I feel in the mood to give away something. There'll be details later in the show, so watch out for that. Oisin says, interesting. PSG 1, Nice 3. The stats look crazy. Tell me more, Oisin. Tell me more. Arsenal Granny, welcome. Says, I bet PSG were resting players. They didn't need to win that Nice game. Well, they went full strength, apparently. So let's see what happens in the rest of that game. Evening all, says Raphael. Very glad to be catching a late night lounge live. No matter what happens for the rest of the season, I'm proud of this team and this club. Bring on all challenges. We can compete. That's a lovely message, Raphael. And thank you for joining as usual. And thanks for getting involved in the chat. Tavarui says, good evening. Oisin also saying, looks like a full strength PSG side. Take the foot off the gas like Arsenal, no doubt. We, of course, went almost full strength on Wednesday and we couldn't get the win either. Matthew, hello. Greetings. Good evening, everyone. Hope it's been a good week and we're all ready for a chilled weekend. I'm ready for a chilled weekend. No Barclays for us, but we will have to see Liverpool probably beat Spurs and win the title. That is not going to be fun. Terence is in the house. Well done for joining us. Tanvir, yes, late start. As I said, Mbele is currently hopefully on the way back from the pharmacy. Hopefully he'll join us within a few minutes' time. Ian says, spotted two gentlemen of this parish on the N5 show. That's right, we were there and it was a fantastic night. Thanks to Michael, Timsy and Nicole, of course, Halliday, the host. And there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes from Arsenal. Really is a classy sort of setup. We managed to help get involved in the show. We watched the game from the Arsenal box. It was a really, really lovely experience. Caristel, who is also a Patreon member, says, good evening, FK. Did you watch the PSG versus Nice game? Lots of comments coming through about this. PSG were trying to go invincible in the league. Were they? invincible. That's going to be a massive blow. I wonder what the impact of that's going to be psychologically. Trevor's in the house, says hello. Harry says same again for the first leg from the quarters. 3-goal advantage has to be done. Let's see what Yembele is saying. He's just texted me. Coming back now. We'll be on at 10:30. Yes. Yes, Mbappe. That's what I'm talking about. He is going to join us. Flipdocs in the house says, good evening all. Mike Jones is in the house saying they had an undefeated season going and lost for the first time today. Wow. Ash, welcome to you. Evening, FK. Perfect show while I refresh ticket exchange for the next 2 days. Yeah, I've heard that only 13% of silvers were lucky in the ballot this time and 3% of reds. That's pretty shocking. I do wonder where the other tickets go, but let's see. Moyad says, welcome. Keep the chat active. Hundreds of you watching now live across both platforms. Please do like the video, get involved in the socials, and let me bring in our first guest. He's no guest. He's a regular on the Late Night Lounge. Mbappe, how are you, man?
I'm good, man. I run this place now. What do you mean? I'm here. I'm here on time. Actually, in this case, I was here early. I messaged you saying, "Where's the link?"
You did
because you didn't send it to me on time. But yeah, just give me shares now, FK. I'm trying to get the stocks up.
My communication's so poor. Like guests are coming on ready. I don't even send them the link. I don't even tell them that somebody else is late. They just wait there. They just wait, sat in their living room or wherever it is that you stream from. How's your week been, man? Talk to me.
Yeah, do you know what? It's actually been good, but I had this sudden realization. I think it was yesterday. Obviously, with Easter being last week and May on the horizon, we've got a couple of bank holidays coming up. We practically lose or we gain like a week's worth of holiday with the days that we were given off, like the bank holiday Monday for Easter, the Good Friday, the couple of bank holidays. And I suddenly realized that that's a week's worth of work I've got to fit into the other days that we are at work. So yeah, a lot of cramming this week because obviously after school holidays, parents are still off sort of for the week after, or people that don't have kids are now taking annual leave because things are a bit more cheap for them. Luckily enough. So yeah, it was a busy one. But I'm glad that we didn't have too much rain this week. So yeah, that's a positive.
We've not had the April showers, and I hear that the temperatures are going to soar into the early to mid 20s next week. Going to be a scorcher on Tuesday, and of course we face PSG, so we're going to talk about that game, Wayne. But so glad that you've joined us. We'll wait until Yembele gets on for a snack check, or should we? I don't know. What should we do? Do you think he's going to be in the mood for a snack check? Chat, let me know what you guys are snacking. Let's do it now.
Is he going to ruin our mood?
Yeah, well, let's not let him do it. That's probably the best way to save some respect from our watching viewers. What you got for us today, my friend? And chat, let me know what you guys chatting on. Snacking on. Oh, I've lost my head tonight.
Do you know what? I did love? I loved that little Freudian slip of you of the snake chat. Because that's what you are. That's what you're a part of. That's what you own. You're the commissioner of all snake chat. But no, I've gone simple tonight. Some of Maryland's finest chocolate chip cookies.
What? If you don't have them for a long time and then you bust open a packet, they are so good.
Yeah, they have to be the original red ones, though.
Of course,
like the red packet. But this time, I've also brought along a little cup of milk, and I'm gonna just dip.
Is the milk cold or warm?
It's cold. I
don't want cold milk.
Yeah, I'm not a toddler. I'm not a toddler, FK. What do you mean?
You're not a child, he says, dunking his cookies into his milk as a little nightcap. Oh, you're a weird man, but I love it. Caristel, but by the way, Caristel, thanks for signing up as a Latte Firm Patreon. Really appreciate you being as part of that community. He says, or she, snack check, butter chicken and garlic naan bread. I think you've won already. The first snack of tonight, and what a snack that is. Butter chicken is elite. Garlic naan is absolutely the one. Alex says, hello, chaps. Guna73 says his snack check tonight is honey fried plantain with a sprinkling of sesame seeds.
Ooh.
Honey fried plantain. Ooh, interesting. Well, you guys remember I had the plantain crisps from Wayne. Maybe I'll go for that next time. Dave, that sounds like a great shout. Ash says he's got a yum from Greg's. Do you know what? The Greg's sweet treats are always pretty decent, right? I don't think they're top tier like M&S, but I do think their yums absolutely unbelievable. Greg's yums are so good.
Do you know I actually have to? Do you know I actually have to give Greg's credit for? Now I'm not a vegan, but their vegan sausage roll is really bloody nice.
Oh really? I don't think I've ever tried the vegan sausage roll.
It's really good.
Might have to give that a whirl. Matthew Simpson says he's having the M&S, the Big Daddy pistachio snack. For me, you can't go wrong with M&S. Cara, still sorry, my friend. I was not aware. My bad. Tanwir says cup of tea and Cadbury mini roll. Now, is the Cadbury mini roll with raspberry? Have you tried the special edition ones, or is it just a plain Cadbury's mini roll?
It's one of Yem's. It's like
one of Yem's
mint.
specials.
It's a mint infused orange.
Oh, I can't wait to see what that guy's got tonight. Thomason's in the house. Sorry, says hello, guys. Hello to you, Thomason. Hope you've had a good week. Paul James has got cashew nuts and water. Do you know what? I've got a very mixed snack check tonight, but hopefully DJ D10 when he joins. These are unsalted mixed nuts. What are you doing, Wayne?
I've drank a bit of milk, so I'm trying to like tip it up so that I can get it on the biscuit.
Oh, great. Like, there's a pecan nut just falls away, and these are warmed up. Have you ever had, so peanuts, right? Only when I go on the aeroplane, when you get warm peanuts with like a mango juice or whatever. Yeah. And ever since then, I've literally been warming peanuts. And so these are warmed and they're so good. I've never thought
of doing it.
Yeah. I've got almonds, I've got pecan. What's your favorite nut?
Cashew, I think. Or actually, do you know what? I do like an almond.
Almonds are good. Pistachios? Where do they rank?
I'm not a massive fan of pistachios.
Oh, so good, especially warm. And to wash it down, I have in my new Saka cup. Look at that.
That's lovely. Where's that from?
It's from Arsenal.com. They had a special offer the other day. I've got some mango kefir. So let's wash it down.
Nice.
Oh, that's not a good combination. Oh, that's not a good combination at all. Oh, because have you ever had kefir before? It's like yogurt.
I have, yeah.
Oh, that is not good.
Do you know it is a good combination though? When you dip the cookies in the milk and some of the chocolate chips fall off, and now you've got a little bit of chocolate milk. It's really good.
Don't choke.
I'm not Arsenal.
Flip Doc says pistachios are top tier. Tamir says, have you guys had the Dubai pistachio Canefe chocolate? I have, first of all, and it is absolutely tremendous. And I've seen that there are replicas now in supermarkets. I don't know that they're not the original, but they're sort of labeled as Dubai pistachio chocolate, and they are flying off the shelf. Flip Doc says he's never
just on Dubai. Sorry, have you seen the? It's like kind of gone viral, I guess, like on social media. I forgot. I think there's like a stand in like Knightsbridge or somewhere, and the guy I think is from Dubai or somewhere, and he does pistachios on top of like strawberries and chocolate, and it's about 13 quid, and it's meant to be the nicest strawberries and the nicest sort of pistachios and chocolate mix in London. And they're so expensive, but everyone says that it's completely worth it. That sounds to me like something that is completely down your alley.
Well, I'm pretty sure Wally's already been there. Wally probably owns it. Wally's probably that guy.
He's the guy doing it.
Message him in the chat. Flip Dog says never thought about warming his nuts. Little slip there. I'll try that out next time, FK. Thank you for that. Sam says off work early today and finally catching a late night lounge live. Happy Friday, everyone. Sam, thanks for joining us after work. Hope you've had a good day. What do you do for a living? Tell us, share in the chat. Have you been physically exerting yourself? Are you mentally fatigued? But I'm so glad that you are here. Donald says that mug is elite. Love it. Yeah, he's showing some love to Wayne tonight. Love that. The mug is actually quite good, to be fair.
Please, can someone in the comments say FK stop bullying Wayne and the company you pass is the company
it had
you
crossed
accept.
my mind that people might think that I was serious about the threat that we made to Yembele last week about not.
He's not allowed back.
He's not bad. Yeah, exactly. He's not allowed back. RM says it's overrated, that Dubai chocolate. Well, we shall have to see. So, as per the snack check, anyone who passes a Jamaica patty co-shop. Yellow themed, the patties are flaky and delicious. Coming from me, someone who makes them, they're elite. Oh man, do you remember that? You don't remember? Dan brought patties to the Emirates and he shared them with like 3 or 4 of us, and he kept them warm in his pocket. They were so good, so good. There he is. Stop bullying him. Right, welcome to everybody. Ian says he's having Quavers and toffee crisp. Do you know, I want to say something really controversial, right? Cheese crisps and chocolate go so well together.
Why is that controversial? That's great.
Well, just because I don't know, some people like to keep savory and sweet separately, but like if you've had like
No,
a cheesy packet of Doritos, you could easily inhale a couple of Kit Kats and then go back to the cheesy Doritos. What a combination!
all Ian's missing there is a prawn sandwich, and that's an elite meal deal.
I knew you'd bring it. I knew you'd bring it. Awais says the classic Royal Nawab restaurant in London is amazing. Maybe that is the one. Alex is an archaeologist. No, Sam is an archaeologist. I'm an archaeologist. No field work this week, but lots of late nights at the lab. I was going to say, if you're not on the field, like, what are you doing? You just sit in the lab and like test stuff. Is that the role? Happy for the weekend. Wow, we've got archaeologists in the house. That's insane. Just so I'm clear, they're the Jurassic Park people, right?
The Jurassic, they do more than that. Yeah, but yeah.
No, as in they're the people at the start of Jurassic Park, the ones that are digging up bones and stuff. Have I got that right? Is that paleontologist? Archaeologist? Oh, this is so embarrassing. That is right? Archaeologist.
Oh my God, the Jurassic Park people. Jesus Christ.
Sam, correct me. Save me. Save me. Tambia says Ritz crackers don't. Oh, whoa. Ritz are savory. They're not sweet. They're salty biscuits.
Are they salty? Salty Ritz? Surely not.
Come on. Sam's retaining the decorum. Says artifact analysis. Mate, do you know what? That's such an elite summary of what someone at LinkedIn bio. Artifact analysis. That's so sick. He's Indiana Jones. Louis, welcome to the chat. Paul J. Oh, there's lots of shouts for Indiana Jones. I love that. Paleontologist equals Jurassic Park. Archaeologist equals Indiana Jones. So am I right? Paleontologist was right. Jurassic Park people.
Well, yes, but that's not what Sam isn't a paleontologist.
No, I mean Sam doesn't look at dinosaurs. Obviously, they're extinct and gone. But he looks at human artifacts. Mate, this is serious stuff.
So it makes sense why he's watching you, FK. Why Sam's watching you.
Thanks.
Human artifacts.
Love that. AFC 123 welcome says, nice to see you on the Arsenal live. FK Yembele was hogging the mic a bit too much.
Messaged you.
You messaged me about it. He's such a menace, isn't he? Go and tell me.
I messaged you saying that exact same thing. Like they wanted to cut to like the next highlight package, and Yem was just there talking about Saka.
You know, it's funny. I was looking at Nicole, the host, and Nicole had that same face that I have whenever Yembele gets going. All I asked, what's the weather like? And he's telling me about his week and what his mum and dad are having for dinner, where he's going on holiday next year. It's like, I just asked you one simple question, but you can't do it. Thomason, by the way, has just given a shout. You guys need to watch Sinners. I've heard about this. Really good film, he says. Watched it at the cinema with my sister on Wednesday. I've seen like socials going wild about Sinners. Have you seen it, Wayne?
I haven't seen it yet, no, but apparently it's very, very, very good.
I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm gonna take your advice, my man. Dobbo, welcome to the chat. Dobbo0107. If anybody's on X, please do follow him. Of course, not been on the channel for a while because he's been gallivanting around the world.
I'm loving the Caribbean theme tonight.
Honestly, isn't it just beautiful?
Yeah, I'm loving it.
Do you know what? I might have to get some Caribbean this weekend. Dobbo says, good evening, gents. Hope you are well. Watching this evening from Barbados. The all-inclusive drinks have taken a beating over the last days. This guy is so well-traveled, and his pictures always are just so wholesome. He sends me on the WhatsApp, and I do get jealous from time to time. But Dobbo, caution your blast, my friend, and enjoy that trip.
There's no excuse, Dobbo, next time you're on, not to have a Caribbean snack for Snack Jet. There's no excuse not to bring yourself something back.
That's right. And listen, I don't doubt this is true at all. I've seen Dobbo. I've met him in person. I've had dinner with him. Severely sunburnt today after a great boat cruise. Pray for my skin, he says. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's going to be a painful one for you, Dobbo. But enjoy the rest of the holiday, as Alpha says. Dan saying, enjoy the warm weather and the lovely food out there. Right, let's talk about football. Yambele's going to come in and, like a wrecking ball shortly. So we will bring him in as we do. Thanks for all the shouts for Snack Check. Hundreds of you watching live right now across both platforms. Like I said, if you've just joined, lots to talk about. We will sadly look back at Palace. We'll talk about the sort of match stats and how the game sort of unfolded, Wayne. We'll look at the 13 draws that we've now had this season. Some interesting takeaways from that. We'll then obviously have to, through gritted teeth, congratulate Liverpool because they are on the verge of their second Premier League title. We'll then look ahead to PSG, not in terms of like the game, but just the sort of exhibition, the feeling, the excitement around being in the semi-final. We'll talk about the Tifo that's been talked about in the socials. I'm sure you've all seen it. And we'll end the show by looking ahead to this weekend's FA Cup semi-final. So tuck in, keep the snacks going, keep the chat going, and get any questions in as you want. And as soon as I get Yembele, I'll bring him into the chat. Dubbo, by the way, just coming back saying, the food has been amazing. The fresh fish is unbeatable. The Caribbean energy is fantastic too. Superb people here. Donald says, now, James, focused on staying unbeaten. Bottom dropped out of them. I reckon they're there for the taking. Obviously, some people are still focusing on PSG. Right. Welcome. Oh, as if by magic, sliding in at the back post is Mbappe. Yamontada. Yamontada. Por favor, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. How are you guys?
Oh, man, I was so happy to see your face. Really so happy to see your face, man. Wayne and I were just chilling. We were just chatting. The chat missed you, man. Everyone's like, where's your Mbappe? What's going on? FK's not letting him back on the show because of his snack checks, whatnot. First of all, how's the missus? Because you had to go to the pharmacy to pick up some emergency meds. Is she okay?
Yeah,
Is she going to be okay?
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay, glad to hear it. And how are you, my man? How was your week? As AFC 123 says, Yem the gem, the goat.
Yeah, good. I mean, obviously the result in the midweek wasn't exactly very helpful to my my blood pressure about next Tuesday. That doesn't help at all. But yeah, overall pretty good. I mean, I'm still really loving the Madrid content because you keep going back to watch it. It's we are vicariously living until Tuesday, around that game. But yeah, good. How are you boys?
We're good, man. We're good. And we're pleased that you've joined us. So thank you for that. And appreciate all the effort you've gone to, because I know you've had to sort of storm out unexpectedly. And obviously we wish the very best to Mrs. Yemontada. Vlad says, back post tap in Golazzo from Mbappe. Dobbo says, look at the wonderful grin from Yem. What a man. It's great to see you in the house. Ousmane Dembele, that sets up the scene quite nicely. So, Yem, look, you missed it. We're going to talk about Palace, sadly. We'll talk about Liverpool, talk about PSG a little bit, talk about the Tifo display that Arsenal are planning and the debate that we've been having on socials, and look ahead to the FA Cup semi-final weekend. So, everybody watching from around the world, tuck in, enjoy the show. Let's bring up the slides as we normally do. And, Yem, let's just put you straight into it, because you and I obviously were at arsenal.com for that game. Really kind invite from the club to get involved and be part of the show, the match day show, which is ever so popular. Really grateful to have and privileged to have been sort of a part of it. I did offer it up as a gift to one of our Patreon members, but it was very, very late notice from the club that I got, and then of course people couldn't make the time. So, Yem, thank you for joining me. Great experience, but of course the result, as you say, didn't quite go our way. Points dropped again as I brought up the team, and of course it was 2-2 on the night. What are your thoughts?
It's disappointing, given the strength of the team. I did say before, and I keep saying again, we definitely weren't focused on this game in any way, shape, or form. But the quality that we had, and that we went ahead twice, we should have really sewn this one up quite easily. And unfortunately, and it's slightly worrying, and hopefully not indicative of what's coming, but Saliba again makes the same kind of mistake that he made against Real Madrid. So hopefully get that out of his system, and make sure he's back to his best. But yeah, not the greatest way to set up the PSG game. But again, PSG lost tonight, so it's not exactly like they're focused either. But yeah, I think through that game, what you and I felt was we weren't 100%. None of them were. Neither were Palace. But we should have really won that. We let them back in way too easily.
Do you think we played well enough to win the game, Yem? Because I'm going to show some stats on the next slide that might surprise a few people. Do you think we played well enough to get the victory?
I don't think we played well enough, but the quality that we had on the pitch, i.e., it was mostly the first team outside of Sterling, to me, should have had enough in the tank, even at 60, 70% to win that game. For me personally, again, mentality, and you naturally look, I think we all know the season is done. The league is over. Liverpool have won it. Congratulations to them. But it seems, and obviously they're looking ahead towards what possibly could be. But when I was watching that game, I just thought, okay, we're not playing great, but we scored 2 goals. The first one, after the first goal, I thought, okay, that's it. We should be done. Palace are playing for the weekend. Just keep going. But again, we switch off. And this has been a problem over the years, that we have these games where we do switch off. Raya switched off, Saliba switched off. There are a couple of players who just literally, you can tell they're not there. And I think that's that's been indicative over the couple of years where we've had these kind of look ahead games, and I'm slightly worried about that kind of mentality creeping, because I doubt Mikel has said to them, "This is just an easy game. Go ahead and do that." He would have said, "I want 3 points out of this." So the players who go on the pitch would have been the ones who have been executing that kind of game plan and then making these little mistakes that have let Palace in. So it's disappointing to me personally that we've let this slip again. And as you'll probably say, it's reflected in our league form. And unfortunately, despite having very good stats in one area, we don't have it in the other area like Liverpool do, and we suffer for that.
We do. Listen, my gut feeling is that I walked away from the stadium really disappointed and flat, as you know, because we were ahead twice. And I think we should have been professional enough and had enough in us in terms of quality to just see out the game, get the 3 points, and just push Liverpool to another weekend. I think we've played better in many games this season and drawn. I don't think it was a very good performance at all. And I got to say, on the one hand, I'm very understanding and forgiving for the players because they've had, in most of their cases, one of the best weeks or 2-week spells in their entire careers. You've got to remember that a lot of these boys have not had 2 games in quick succession against Real Madrid often. Raheem Sterling's been there, won it, done the lot. But even for him, that would have been, being part of that squad would have been a special moment certainly for the players that played. It was extraordinary. And their head would have been on Mars. They've, mentally just completely spent and fatigued. Went to Ipswich, won the game. And then, of course, it was just a very flat sort of fixture that no one really wanted. But at the same time, Crystal Palace, like you say, they've got one eye on this weekend in arguably their biggest fixture of their season. No doubt, actually, their biggest fixture of the season. And these are the stats that they put up. And let's just take a look at them. I mean, sorry for the eye test, people watching on phones or tablets, but this is courtesy of the BBC. We dominated possession, which we normally do, Wayne. 67 odd percent, 2/3 possession to a third. But interestingly, Crystal Palace, and they're the sort of black bars, higher XG than us, more shots on goal than us, more touches inside the box than we did for them, higher XG from open play. Obviously, we're going to dominate XGs from set plays because that's what we do. Expected assists and expected assists from open play, expected assists from set plays. Palace outperformed us quite comfortably. And that's not happened many times this season, Wayne. So it kind of reinforced how I felt. On the night, it didn't feel like this, but looking at the stats, that's kind of surprised me. And actually, maybe I'm sat here thinking that's probably a fair result. What do you think, Wayne?
I think we were lucky to get the draw. I think the fact that Crystal Palace came with I don't even think they necessarily came with a game plan. They actually came to play football. And there were a few opportunities where David Raya kind of flapped at crosses or ball went through his hand and he looked a bit shaky. There were times where Eddie Nketiah was sort of running towards our goal and had a lot more space than we would normally see a player have. I think 2-2, I won't say flattered us because we weren't that bad to sort of get battered, but I think Palace were the better side. And I think that they would probably feel disappointed not to come away and win that game. And I think that I hear what you're saying sort of about being forgiving in the sense of a big week, etc., etc. I'm less forgiving on that simply because there aren't very many games that I can remember under Arteta where I questioned our effort. And there's not very many games under Arteta where I questioned our intensity levels and the players giving their all. This from minute one, and I know we scored early, but from minute one, this just looked like a game that the players had no interest in. They had no interest in, and it looked like a game that they just kind of wanted to coast through. And fair enough, not get injured, but by not getting the win against Crystal Palace, you've now made it more difficult for us moving forward. I don't necessarily think that this result is going to have an impact on the PSG game. And I'm very, very glad that we're not playing this weekend, like we've discussed, and we'll talk about PSG a little bit more. They played this weekend, they lost, they were going for an Invincibles season. They went full strength and they lost. We've got the weekend free. But like you said, FK, the performance and the result it's not okay just because we've got PSG on the horizon. If you compare the two clubs, Crystal Palace have their PSG this Saturday. I don't think they've ever won a domestic cup competition or any trophy outside of sort of the Championship maybe, or like League One or something like that. At least not for many of their fans' lifetimes. If they rocked up with their under-21s, I reckon Arsenal fans would have understood that, and Crystal Palace fans probably would have understood that as well. But they didn't go full strength. They outplayed us for vast majorities of the game, and they should have won. So I'm very, very disappointed with the effort, and in turn, the result now means we have to beat Bournemouth. We've got 4 games left, and we're in pole position to finish second. But I expect Man City to win out, and we've got 4 or 3 tough fixtures in Bournemouth, Liverpool, and Newcastle to end the season. Southampton at the end of the season, we should win. It's because of this result now, it's not a given that we will finish second. And if we don't, that is incredibly embarrassing in itself.
Yeah, it does have implications on obviously our race for Champions League football now and our race to kind of finish second, as you say. A couple of talking points before we move away from this game and talk about the draws that we've had this season. Yeah, I'm bringing you back into the chat. We were expecting, or I think we were hoping that Mikel Arteta would make some changes, and then we had the conversation on the tube going in about, well, actually, there's still a week to go before PSG, and there's a lot of, I think, merit in keeping players ticking along. I mean, you can't go through like a 10-day spell in April at the back end of the season without having a competitive fixture. Like, players just need that constant burst of use and rest. Obviously, Saka got his minutes, and Trossard, lots of people in the chat have been saying that he's doing well. Martinelli played. Raheem Sterling is the first question, Yem. Look, we tried to polish a turd when he signed, and we tried to sort of big it up as an Edu masterclass, and Chelsea are subsidising the wages, and he's going to, his experience is going to come in and sort of help us. He's been massively disappointing, and I wouldn't mind if this was the last we saw of him. Yeah, I mean, he's not contributed. I don't want to isolate him just on this performance, but it kind of epitomized our whole performance on the night. But what did you make of Raheem? Because he's taken a lot of criticism on socials.
And I'm one of them, because I don't see it. I see a player who unfortunately physically is, we've used the term washed, but a better way to put it is he's spent. He's not, I can't see how he's going to perform in this league. I think he's had a lot of years at the top level and he's won everything. He's been a top professional, but we've also seen that players who've started from a young age, and he's started very young, have fizzled out quite badly. And I that's what I see now. I see a player who, when he was in a good position and in his pomp, would have taken on a player, burst past him, and had some kind of final action, is so scared now of the impact it could have. I can't take this player on, that he literally looks for the pass. And when you're looking for the pass as a winger, the easy pass, backwards, sideways, etc., then it's really obvious where you are. You're either too scared for what's going to happen, career, injury, whatever it is, or you just know, I'm not going to beat this person and I'm going to absolutely lose it. And I just see a player who, unfortunately, is a level below, not just Arsenal standards, but I think Premier League standards. And to Vlad's point, Ranieri was a better option to start the game. I think Mikel was being generous, because I've not seen a game from Sterling where he's been that much of an influence. I think if we had paid any money for this outside of the 100,000 that we've been paying and an option, I would have been fuming by now. The only thing that gives me comfort is Chelsea have got 2 more years of this, unless they can bin him, which they will absolutely
Has he
try
got
to
2
do.
more years at Chelsea after this? That's it.
On 350,000. That's
well,
so. I'm
as Vig says, Sterling on deadline day, you're about to see the best of me. You can only laugh. Matthew Simpson saying Sterling is the worst signing we have ever made, and we've had some shockers. I mean, he's spent is a great choice of word, and he's not gonna have enjoyed this spell. I'm sure of that, because I'm sure he's been there, won it, played for so many massive clubs. He knows he's probably spent. He's on his way to the retirement home, and maybe he needs to leave the game before the game leaves him, as was that famous comment. And Wayne, the last question on this game, David Raya is obviously in the picture. That's the second mistake that we've made in a very short space of time. Lots of people after the Real Madrid game were like, well, if Saliba's going to make a mistake, you may as well get it out of the system now. And then here we are just a week later. And it's almost happened again, where Saliba, Odegaard and Raya play. I mean, Raya was on Mars. I don't know. He's always so high. And actually, to be fair, Glasner, their coach, made a point of this and said, we've been studying Raya's high positioning. And Yem, you know this because I stand with you in the North Bank. And most weeks when Raya's so high up the pitch off the ball, I keep saying to you, mate, if they intercept and they do a David Bentley or a whoever it was from Sporting Lisbon when they chipped Ramsdale from the halfway line, like, someone's going to catch him at some point. And Glasner made that point, and he said that even before they'd scored, there were 2 attempts to do it. The first time they forgot, second time it hit a player, but third time Mateta, and what a finish. Let's not take anything away. People are thinking like, Mateta's just hit it into an empty net. He has, but if you look at that finish, it's precision. So Wayne, what do you make of that whole sort of miscommunication or error? Are you writing it off? Are you forgiving them for it? Or is this something actually that's a bit of concern for you?
I'm not writing it off, but look, I think there was a stat floating around on Twitter earlier today that Saliba's got 2 mistakes in 2 games, but before that he had 1 in 178 or something like that. I don't doubt his quality. I don't doubt his ability whatsoever. I just think that it was a lapse of concentration, like it was at the Bernabeu. Different circumstances, but I think look, you're always going to have that risk. There's risk reward with David Raya. We know exactly what he can do. The risk paid off for Crystal Palace because obviously Mateta got the goal in that sense, but the reward paid off for us at the Emirates when David Raya was high, played it through to Partey played it through to Rice, and we get our 3rd goal. So you're going to take the rough with the smooth with that, and I think we've had a lot more smooth in the way that we build up and set up with this. Obviously, it's going to be fresh in our minds because it's happened in the last sort of 2 games or so. I don't expect it to happen at PSG. I wouldn't expect it to necessarily happen again in future because I know and we know just what a perfectionist Mikel Arteta is. So he would have been into them as much as any sort of fans were, and I'm sure it would have disappointed Saliba as well. The one thing I will say though is, and it's difficult, especially being a centre-back, Saliba's played a lot of football this season, mostly because he's absolutely had to. And I don't think that fatigue or tiredness is the reason why he made that mistake. I'm not gonna place the blame on that. But I do think that at this point of the season, you're maybe sort of getting that wary mind. You're getting those wary legs, and there's a possibility that in the league campaign at least we might see him come out and rotated a little bit if it's possible.
Well, it's funny because it's not funny, but it's quite coincidental that you say that, because I was saying to Yem that we were walking away from the stadium after the game that, for Saliba to do that twice in a short space of time, to me suggests that he's maybe in need of a mental switch off. Like, you get that mental fatigue as a youngster who's played, like you say, 100 games or whatever it was, effortlessly, elegantly, wonderfully. And then all of a sudden, sort of a couple of mistakes, and there's a few people in the chat that are saying, look, awful mistakes as Patrick, welcome to the show, can't afford another one. And we thought that after the Real Madrid game. But of course, it's now 2-2. Now, Alex saying, honestly, I blame Raya as much, if not more, for the goal for Saliba. I think Saliba's mistake, as Vig says, was egregious. It's a great word. He was under no pressure, and he still chose the wrong option. With Raya, I can't fault him for the Mateta goal because his positioning allows us to play from the back. What I would say, and to your point, Wayne, I think that you're right. At this point of the season, you can coast, like you're just in autopilot. You just go from game to game to game, and they come thick and fast, and you're playing, and he's playing alongside Jakub Kiwior, who's been brilliant. But I just wonder if, maybe this break this weekend is going to do Saliba a little bit of good, where he can just switch off a little bit. There's been images around today on socials that Saliba has a new gym installed in his flat or his house or whatever, and it's just a picture of Saliba praying in the background on his wall, which I thought was quite wholesome. But yeah, look, it's a mistake nobody enjoyed, nobody would have wanted to have seen, and it's disappointing because it led us to a draw. And chaps, that is now 13 draws in the league, ladies and gents, boys and girls. Sorry to bring up this image, but it's important. We've got to recognize this. 13 draws. That for me is not so much the headline. The real headline is that we were leading in 9 of these games. Twice we were leading against Palace, but look at some of these results. I mean, I brought them up on screen. Some of forget the sort of scenarios, but just, it starts, it's in chronological order. So, the start of the season, the Brighton game, do you remember that? The ref's decision. Going away to City, no fault in that. Of course, the last gasp equaliser from City right at the death. Do you remember Trossard getting sent off, playing with 10 men for 45 minutes, sorry. Home draw to Liverpool, which was really frustrating. Chelsea, Fulham away. Draw, that was two draws in in West London. Everton at home, that was a bitterly disappointing draw, goalless. One of very few goalless results for us this season. And then Brighton away, of course, where we were leading again. So you can see, there's United who have been abysmal all season. So there's some really disappointing results in there. Is there anything that you guys want to say on that? 9 times we were leading. Sorry, 9 of these games, 9 of these draws, we were leading first. So actually, when people say we need a striker, had we have held on to those 9 leads, it'd be a very, very different story, Ian.
It is and it isn't. We were discussing this, you and me, on our way back again. Our conversations are very varied when we're disappointed. But this, in relation to a striker, if you think about this, Liverpool do go behind, but what they have is attacking intent and the ability to generate a lot more chances than we do. We struggle to generate through goal scoring opportunities. It takes a lot for us to generate a goal scoring opportunity. I think that's one of our biggest problems, that it will take us a good 10, 15 minutes, a lot of probing to get a goal. We don't have a natural someone who we can throw it into the box and they have this natural ability to sniff out a goal, etc. We have to generate the chance through a lot of play. And that, for us, when we've lost a goal, is very a big problem, I feel. But as well as that, you've pointed out there were circumstances for some of these. But some of these ones were just daft goals. And it's the biggest problem with Arsenal, and it continues to be a problem, is that when we switch off, when we make a mistake, we are punished, and we are punished hard. I think we've got the highest XG conversion rate from chances, i.e. that every team who gets a chance against us generally tends to score, because we don't give many away, but when they do, they score against us. It's crazy. Brentford did that. It's deeply frustrating. I don't know how you solve it, because to Wayne's point earlier, the risk and reward, we do play the high line, and we do play that for a reason, because we can pinch teams in and we can effectively have them in their half. But when you break on us, you're likely to get in and have a good goal scoring opportunity, and a lot of teams have taken advantage of that. The one caveat here is, if you look at these teams, they have pace on the break, and I don't know how you solve that, because Mikel's formation is designed this way. The only way I can see it is that you will have the ability to score goals, regularly, and that you create these goal scoring chances, that you have the opportunities, and a striker and varied attack is the problem. I also do think, just finishing off that point, we lack a varied attack. Raheem Sterling, I'm back to it again, does not help anything. Bringing him on is not an option. It's more of a detriment than anything else. So you're relying on your 2 primaries and Trossard to generate. Liverpool can throw on Diaz, Nunes. They regularly rotate those guys out, so they generate those more chances. We do need that variation in attack. The attack has to be more varied next year. It's not just a striker, it's the attack. The attack has to vary more.
I think you're right. Louis just reminded me we've not managed to beat Everton or Brighton all season. Lol. And Mikey making the point, actually, when you lack firepower, you concede territory. And actually, when your opponents are on the ropes and you have the softest, fluffiest gloves, you can't go for the kill. And maybe that's the point here about striker. That said, how you solve it, that transition, you go out and buy a defender, which is obviously what Mikel Arteta is going to do. First signing of the summer window will be Dean Howson at £50 million. Second signing will be Joan Garcia, unless he ends up at Real Madrid. That's going to send Arsenal head spinning.
Or Man United. He's been linked with Man United today.
Really? Wayne, so many heartbreaking results, says Alex, that are on screen. City, Chelsea, Brighton, comical red card, Fulham, late VAR, but as we've seen games that have had scenarios, I understand that, but Vlad's made a really salient point here. Significantly, a lot of these are against mid-table teams that have similar profiles, that sort of mid to low block that we've really struggled with this season. So are you looking for reinforcements in that attacking third, and will that make all the difference? Are we, this time next season, we've got to half this. We've absolutely got to half this and convert them into wins, might I add.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's only an attack issue, though. I think in a game like this, I think it's more a midfield issue. Because in games like this, we're very... Like Declan Rice against against Real Madrid and sort of that left eight or whatever you want to call it in midfield, whether it was a pivot, he was phenomenal because Real Madrid came to play football. So he had a lot of space to run into. He could carry the ball. But in games like against Crystal Palace, Everton, the sort of Brentfords of the world, you kind of need another midfielder, especially when Ødegaard is not at his best. You need more creativity. And if Saka's not there doing it and Ødegaard's not playing well, we don't really have much creativity in the team, even if we're fully fit. Kai Havertz is not that type of player. He can score goals, he can get assists, but I wouldn't call him sort of he's not someone that's going to unlock a deep defense or anything like that. He's not that type of player. Marino has been fantastic in 2025, but again, he's not that kind of player consistently. He's good at getting into the box. He's nice, sort of intricate passing, linking up play, things like that. But he's probably not the kind of playmaker we need. And I do think that it's not only a personnel issue in attack. I think there's a personnel issue in midfield. And I also think that there is a style of play issue, especially when we go 1-0 up. Previously, we would go 1-0 up, and especially last season, the second half of the season, we would go 1-0 up, and suddenly it's 2 and 3 and 4 because we're keeping our foot on the gas, this tempo, and we just go for the kill and we end the game there and then. This season in particular, we've played really slow for the majority of it. And a lot of that time, we go 1-0 up and then we kind of set in our controlled pattern. And that just allows the team to come onto us a little bit more. And even if they're not going to have loads of chances, they're going to we're relying on variables going our way, like a referee being able to do their job. We know that referees can't in this country are not very good. So we can't rely on the fact that they may or may not give a penalty that they shouldn't, because there's a likely chance they will because they're incompetent. Or if we're not going for the kill, we're always at risk of sort of a unlucky deflection or a set piece going in. So I would like us, once we've gone 1-0 up, to just go for the throat a little bit more. Try to go for that second goal. Try to go for that third goal and kill games off. I think for me, yes, 13 draws in the league is very, very disappointing. The fact that Everton are the only team with more draws than us is really, really sad as an Arsenal fan. Like, that's really disappointing. But do you know the more disappointing for me, FK? The more disappointing thing for me, FK, is we had a conversation on one of these shows, maybe at the start of the year. Was the Emirates turning into a fortress? We've dropped so many points at home this season.
Look at that. I mean,
we've got 6 draws there, and we lost to West Ham. Like, that's not like us at the Emirates. So I expect us with quality to be able to at least cut that in half. But I do think it's more than just sign a striker and these will turn into wins. I think we need more sort of creativity in the midfield. And is Zubimendi gonna do that if that's the midfielder we're going for? I don't know.
Well, I mean, when you talk about the home fixtures, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Aston Villa, Everton, Brighton. Forget the Liverpool game for a second. But those fixtures, when you think about them on paper, going into any of those match weekends, all of us would have been thinking, yeah, we'll take that lot tomorrow. So it's massively disappointing to not have that home record. And what that means, of course, chaps, and listen, if you've been watching the show tonight from the very start, we're just about sort of halfway through. Now is probably the perfect time to go to the toilet or go and make a fresh cup of tea, because through gritted teeth, we must just very quickly talk a little bit about Liverpool, because they are going to be crowned champions, as we expect Spurs to pull their pants down and just bend over and be ready for that result this weekend. They are, of course, now going to win the league title under Arne Slot. First league title with fans, second league title in their Premier League in the Premier League era. Of course, they are going to now level with Manchester United on 20. And look, one of the guys in the picture, Mo Salah, has been quite extraordinary. I mean, yeah, it hurts to say it. I know we've been giving it the big on socials, and we were all optimistic of a strong season this year. And when Manchester City kind of dropped away and Rodri got that injury, I think deep down we all thought, this is it. We're going to push on. Nobody expected Arne Slot to do what he's done without any additions, and they've had a phenomenal season.
Yeah, you have to look. You have to be big enough to acknowledge when someone's been better, and Liverpool have been far and away better than us in the league. The stats don't lie. it's what 13 points ahead at the moment. We just haven't we've fallen away so badly. But you also have to take your hat off to Mo Salah. Mo Salah is in that midst of that kind of unplayable era where he is guaranteed to score, he's guaranteed to be there. And when you have that kind of player in your squad, we had it with Thierry Henry when we were in the Invincible period. When you have that player, things happen. And when they were down, he came up for them. It's very, 68% of their goals came from Mo Salah. That's how big he is for them. So you can't take it away. Again, it's been a phenomenal season, and you've got to credit Slot for taking the reins. Although he's been given a very, very good squad, to manage it in a different way. They're much more controlled. I think as well that he's managed the squad quite well. I said it before. I think he's rotated those forward players very well. He tends to do it quite early, and that's kept them fresh.
I mean, it's nice to have fit forwards, but yeah, I get your point.
No, but varied forwards as well. We can't do that. When you've got, Nunez is not a great player, but he's an impact. He can make an impact. Do I think they have been so much better than us on paper? Probably that we would have been equal. If we hadn't had so many detrimental injuries, I think we could have made a go of it. Whether we would have won it is another matter, but I think we would have been closer. But you have to take your cap off. I think, this whole debate about the whole guard of honor, don't be ridiculous. We're Arsenal Football Club. Clubs have done it for us. We'll do it for them. There's no shame in acknowledging people, when someone's been better than you. Next year, we go again for it. That's what sport is all about, that you respect your opponents. When someone's better than you, acknowledge it, but the next year it motivates you. I would expect Arsenal players to be so, if they're not motivated by having to give a guard of honor and saying next year it's us, I'm not having this, then it's a weak mentality. Then you can leave the club, because this should motivate you. So again, congratulations, Liverpool. Let's go for it next year.
Wayne, they've of course extended the contracts of Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah, who are both at the wrong end of their careers and on very extortionate salaries. I mean, Van Dijk's going to be 35 going into next season, 34 going into next season, whatever it is. I know 34 becomes before 35. Let's not go down that road anymore. But £400,000 a week, and likewise with Mo Salah. So really interesting. Alex just rubbing it in, saying only Liverpool have won more points than Arsenal at home this season. That, of course, has cost us, as we've just covered. Jeet says, Liverpool have been good, but let's be honest, if Arsenal won the league in this fashion, all the pundits would be saying, because everybody else has fallen off. I mean, there was that sort of narrative when Rodri got injured, of course. Matthew Simpson says they've been the best team in the league, super consistent. Salah's been great, and the subs have all performed. RM saying they are a one-man team. I honestly think they'll fall out the top 5 with a big injury to Salah. A couple of people in the chat sort of start asking, what phase is Arnie Slot in? But Wayne, look, I mean, fairly beaten, comprehensively behind this season in terms of league points, and nobody kind of saw Liverpool coming. What do you make of them in terms of sustaining title challenges for next season and beyond? I mean, like I say, they've tied down the 2 of their 3 talisman. Ironically, their most expensive and probably most valuable asset and most local lad is going to be leaving on a free, it seems. But are they going to be a force to be reckoned with next season, or do you expect them to fall away?
I expect them to fall away, but I don't think they'll fall away by as much as a lot of maybe Arsenal fans in particular think they will do. Because at the end of the day, they've still got 3 of the very best players we've ever seen in the Premier League, in Van Dijk, Salah and Alisson. And assuming that all 3 of them stay fit next season, assuming that all 3 of them, because I know that Liverpool signed a goalkeeper from Valencia. I don't know where he's coming in to be their number 1 next year. There was talks of Alisson potentially going to Saudi. If that happens, great. That weakens them even more. But I think it would really do Liverpool a disservice and a discredit to just assume that they're going to disappear next season. They've been in and around a title race for the past 6 years. Apart from 1 year where they had the kind of injuries that we had this season, and they ended up finishing 4th because of Alisson won the header in sort of the 90th minute. So they've been in title races, and they've been in and around the top 2 for many, many years. They know what it takes to do that. And despite the fact that despite the fact that Salah has been a one-man army for their attack for the majority of the season. They've only lost twice. They've won 24, I think, of their Premier League games. One of those defeats recently happened. So to go, I think they went on a run of about 21 games unbeaten in the Premier League after their previous defeat or something like that. And I think the biggest credit to Slot is he just platforms his players in the best way possible. And he doesn't make football complicated. Now, whether or not that can last long term remains to be seen. I think it will be interesting to see how they replace Trent, and I think it will be interesting to see how they reinvent their attack and their midfield in the summer. Because although Salah is staying, Nunes will go, Diaz is potentially leaving, Jota might leave and isn't really first team quality. They're going to need at least two starters in that front three. In midfield, they wanted Zubimendi last year. Gravenberch has had a very good season, but he's not really a top six. So they're going to want to, I think, improve in midfield as well, because Alexis McAllister is probably their best midfielder. Bosley, there's a lot of question marks still over him. And then you have to replace Trent. But I think that is probably the easier one, because you won't get someone who is as good quality wise as Trent, but you can get someone who maybe defends a bit better and allows you to just have sort of a natural back four rather than
they've got Conor Bradley.
Sort of,
you'd assume Conor Bradley will step up into that role.
No. If they do that, then they're risking themselves.
Well, hang on. Let's not knock Conor Bradley. He's obviously a good player, but Trent is, head and shoulders, obviously. I mean, he's at Trent's also, almost 10 years older. But I think Wayne's got a point in that what you need to match is Trent's output. So you need to somehow cover for the assists that he would have given you. You need to somehow cover for the goals that he might get and the creativity that he's got from set pieces. And I don't think it's that difficult to upgrade defensively, Wayne. I think you're right. I think defensively there are, right backs out there that won't be anywhere near as good offensively. So that's what Slot's got to figure out in sort of midfield. And you say that, there's the sort of two attackers up top. But for me, look, Arne Slot's really surprised me. Just because I kind of bought into the narrative that Jurgen Klopp was tired, and I thought he was tired because he was just not being able to get anything out of this squad. But Arne Slot's kind of just showed him up and just sort of said, look, you've a great squad. He's applied it. He's rotated really smartly. Mbele's point is absolutely spot on. When you've got 6 or 7 different forwards that you can choose from every week, and you rotate Jota for Nunez, for Diaz, for Salah, for Gakpo, even what's his face? Chiesa was getting game time towards the back end of the season. Like he's managed to rotate, and even midfield wise, Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott come in for Szoboszlai and McAllister pretty much most games. Endo comes on just to kind of for 15 minutes free up minutes in the legs of some of the other players. Gravenberch has played well, and they've gotten away with obviously nowhere near as many injuries as us. But look, they are going to be champions, and I say it through gritted teeth. If you're top at the end of the season, even though it's been a struggle of a one-horse race, as Terence said earlier, you deserve your flowers, and they are going to be Premier League champions this weekend. You would imagine no fight from Spurs. Let's move along quickly because I don't want to talk about Liverpool too much. Let's move on to brighter and better things because we've got bigger fish to fry. Remontada FC. We were waiting for it. It didn't happen. Nice way to kind of remind everybody that we've just pumped Real Madrid 5-1, ladies and gents, boys and girls. 5-1. 15 Champions League trophies. The Arsenal came along and wiped the floor with them. And that, of course, does mean that we are through to the semi-finals. We play PSG. That is the game. First leg at the Emirates next week. And in the other side, the other semi-final, Barcelona, free goal-scoring Barcelona are going to be playing defensively tight Inter Milan. Although, are the wheels coming off at Inter? Battered by AC. Now Scott McSauce, he's coming for that Serie A title. I can't wait for it. Napoli are going to do a madness, I'm sure of it. But what it does mean, chaps, is that we are through to the semi-final. And as we constantly do on this channel, it's going to be another giveaway for Patreons. I'm so looking forward to this game. If we beat PSG on Tuesday, no, it doesn't matter if we beat them or not. To celebrate the fact that we are playing PSG, I'm going to give one of our lucky Patreon members a shirt of their choice. Why not? The home shirt is elite for many. The away shirt is nice for many. Some people love this shirt that Bukayo Saka is, of course, modeling. I'm not going to give Bukayo Saka away. Obviously, I can't do that. But if you would like to throw your name into the hat, head along to patreon.com/LaTeFM. Latte Firm. Support the channel. The costs of running this channel just get higher and higher, it seems. But if you want to contribute to that for the price of a coffee a month and have access to regular giveaways, match tickets, and also free match tickets every now and again, get into there and I will do the draw in the late night latte after the PSG game. How about that? Oyston says, what's your infatuation with McSauce, FK? McDominate, McSauce, whatever you want to call him. Scott McTominay is a super player and one that I would have loved to have seen at Arsenal. He should have been here before Marino, in my opinion.
FK just likes bad players. That's the infatuation. He likes bad players.
He's so good. He's so good. Right. So chaps, look, it's a massive game. Bonjour to PSG. Paris Saint-Germain, of course, coming to town. Yeah, we're not going to look at sort of team and fixtures and stuff. I'm hoping to have a special guest who's going to come and preview this game with me, Julien Laurent, and the message has gone out via a text. Hopefully he's going to respond to me at some point. He's probably busy watching PSG tonight and crying now into his pillow as he sleeps, because of course he is a PSG fan. We'll talk about sort of the match and stuff nearer the time. How does the occasion sort of getting to you? Because Real Madrid was one mighty high, right? It was absolutely sensational. And we've just talked about how, it was a real come down to sort of play Ipswich away at the weekend. And then, of course, Palace at home. Now, of course, the endorphins will start to rise again. Now the excitement is going to go. I'm waiting for some of our, Arsenal got the best comp makers on socials. I'm waiting for Kimo to drop an Avengers style first leg sort of thing that's just going to get me going. How are you feeling, Yem? PSG, is that the tie that you sort of, you dream about? Are you looking for? I mean, it's a stupid question, but how much are you looking forward to this tie?
Oh yeah, I'm massively looking forward to it. Look, PSG are not the team that we would want in a semi-final necessarily, as in a big name. It's the occasion. We're in the Champions League semi-final. Let that just sink in a little bit. Semi-final. Doesn't matter who you're playing. It's the occasion. And where our trajectory is, we should be in these games. At the sharp end, we should be in title challenges and Champions League semi-finals and finals regularly. And we're back there. It means everything to me. This is where I envision our club should be and where it deserves to be. Mikel has done extraordinarily well. Our record in the Champions League this year is unreal in terms of goals conceded and our victories. And I just think this occasion is not necessarily a payoff, but really a demonstration of what we can be. Because Real Madrid was an example of how we set up well against one of the best attacks in the world, no doubt, and made them look ordinary. And I'm not being disrespectful to Real Madrid. Real Madrid are the greatest European club in the world. There is absolute respect there. But I think every Real Madrid fan will acknowledge we outplayed them in every statistic and every way. We outfought them, we outplayed them, we outpassed them, everything. And that's a testament to Mikel and how he sets up. Now we have to take it another step forward to get to the final. But the occasion itself, I'm honest, talking about it is giving me goosebumps as well because it is the semi-final. I cannot wait. Tuesday cannot come soon enough. I want to be in my seat. I want to be there ready. I want to be giving it big. And, for me and you, we've been fortunate enough that we've seen the 2006 campaign. We have been there in the 2009. We have done that. But for some of our fans and some of our friends who we've seen, they have not seen us. And we were talking about this with another content creator, Thierry, on Live Event 5. We said, you have actually not seen us at our peak, have you? You've not seen us at the sharp end of Champions Leagues, etc., when we were there regularly. He was like, no. And that's the thing, that this is where we should have been for all those years, and we're back there. This has to be regular. We should be there next year again. And whatever this result is, we still need to show that we improve and that we are a heavyweight. Unfortunately, our record in the Champions League, we've not won anything. We've never won it. And it's just, we're so close. We're absolutely so close. And we can all see that we do have the capability to win this game. At the start, I think the video of Darren Fletcher and Rio Ferdinand has been going around the socials around, oh, Arsenal got no chance. They've got no chance of getting in this. And this was earlier in in the season. But we're here now. It's not far. We can all see the opportunity, and that's what's really giving me the palpitations, but giving me the goosebumps. As I said, this is where we want to be. I can't wait, and whether we lose, draw, win, the experience, I just can't wait. I can't wait for the content. I can't wait for the game. I can't wait for the build up. Just going to the game. You know what it's going to be like. We're going to be excited, buzzing as we get ready. What time are we going? What we're going to do beforehand, and all this kind of stuff. And the tifo, the atmospheres, all this stuff which we're going to talk about. But all of this stuff combined, it's just I can't wait. Honestly, this weekend can go quickly for me, and I can't wait till Tuesday.
It is going to be massively exciting. And listen, Real Madrid might be the more attractive, bigger tie, or biggest tie that we've had at Emirates since the stadium opened. But this is, I think, without doubt, the biggest occasion, Champions League semi-final since this stadium opened, that we are about to see. And of course, it's not unfamiliar territory. Just talking about goosebumps, Yambella, you'll be old enough to remember this. I know Wayne certainly will be. But back in '94. The late Kevin Campbell, of course, gave us a great victory at Highbury in the second leg, which we won 1-0 to the Arsenal. That, of course, helped us go to Copenhagen to play Parma in the final. Of course, Alan Smith getting that single goal out there to give us that UEFA Cup Winners' Cup. Do you guys remember the first leg? We played the first leg away in Paris. Can you remember who scored?
Yeah, I remember. Who was it? I can't remember. It's too
Wayne,
long
any
ago.
shouts? It was 1-1. Opened the scoring for Arsenal was, of course, Ian Wright, and David Ginola equalised for PSG. Then, of course, we took it back to the Highbury Stadium and, of course, beat them 1-0 before we went marching through to the final. Of course, just seeing Kevin Campbell so happy there is just so wholesome, brings back memories. But Wayne, more recently, we beat PSG earlier this season, and I think there's been a lot of talk on socials around, look, it was great, we played them, we beat them, but PSG have grown, haven't they, Wayne, this season? Luis Enrique seems to be doing a really good job. And I've just brought up the picture from, obviously, Kai Havertz's goal, but Bukayo Saka scored on that night as well. It was 2-0, early stage of the Champions League, very comfortable at the Emirates, but it's not going to be that easy next week, is it, Wayne?
I wouldn't be so sure. I really wouldn't be so sure. I don't know if
you wouldn't be so sure that it's not going to be that easy.
Yeah, I think we have every.
Do you think it's going to be easy?
I think we can make it easy. I think
really?
we're good enough to. Yeah, I think if that team that showed up in that first leg against Real Madrid shows up again, I think we walk the first leg. Second leg will obviously be difficult, and it will come down to how many goals we score. But I just think we were exceptional on that night against Real Madrid, and I don't think PSG are as good as Real Madrid. I think their attack is a lot more. They've got like a lot more chemistry. They're well balanced. They know how to complement each other. They know how to complement each other really, really well. And I love Luis Enrique. I think he's one of my favorite managers in world football. He has done it at all levels of the game, whether it's internationally with Spain, although he didn't get sort of the trophy win with them as their manager. He plays some amazing football, regardless of who he's in charge of. So they're going to be a threat. But I think we've got the physicality to deal with them, and I think we've got the defensive structure, assuming that we're not going to make any silly mistakes again, to hold them off. And I think the really good thing that we done against PSG in that last game was we just kind of kept them at bay. It was a bit like when you see sort of a big brother sort of fighting with their little brother, and they put their hand out on the little brother's forehead, and the little brother was kind of swinging and has no way of hitting us. We just kind of kept them at bay. We frustrated them a little bit. We didn't really give up any chances. And I can see that happening again. The big X factor, though, is Kvara, that they signed, obviously, in January. We didn't play him in that previous game in the Champions League. He wasn't there. But apart from that, I think from their midfield, you know what they're going to do. I think Hakimi and whoever plays at left back, probably Nuno Mendes, they're both fantastic fullbacks. But you know that they're going to give our wingers chances, because they're going to get forward a hell of a lot. And Saka gave Nuno Mendes a horrible time at that game at the Emirates. It was brilliant to watch. And I think the thing that a lot of Arsenal fans in particular are forgetting is PSG were very, very good against Liverpool for both legs. But Liverpool still won that first leg. And I don't see why it would be any sort of different for us. And look, I like our chances. I wouldn't necessarily. I think it's a real 50-50 matchup. I think it's a real 50-50 matchup. So I do like our chances.
You just said that it could be an easy night, and that he
could be.
switched
It
in the
could
space
be.
of 2
No,
50,
but look,
in about a minute, it'll be like, mate.
No.
I don't
On
get nervous.
paper, of course, when kickoff is going to happen, I'll be shaking. But no, I think when it comes to it, on paper, PSG should be a threat on paper. But I think physically, I think we're there, and I think that performance and the confidence that we've taken from the Real Madrid game should hopefully in that first leg at least see us through.
Listen, sorry, Gordon.
The midfield is going to be a big one. Partey's miss is massive. I have to say, it was such a brain-headed move. But Rice and whoever, I think it will be Marino, given what we saw this week. Trossard going up front, but we should have enough physicality. Who's in their midfield? It's Vitinha, Gomez, and who else is it? There's one more in their midfield.
The Portuguese, João Neves.
João Neves. We should physically outmuscle them. This should be a kind of like, hey, Junior, thanks for the ball. We should be absolutely physically dominating them. That's the theory. Again, kind of like what Wayne said. The little brother, big brother kind of thing. Rice should be absolutely tearing through that midfield because they'll give up gaps, and then obviously there's space in behind. It will be how much do we dominate that midfield if we can, and how much do we stop PSG playing those vertical balls? Because that's where Kvaratskhelia gives you that verticality which they lacked actually in the first leg, and it's Timber. He's going to be coming inside quite a lot. So will Timber go man for man with him as he comes inside? Or will it be that Rice as well helps to cover there? There's so many interesting factors here, but I do think there is a logic to what Wayne is saying in terms of physically. There's an opportunity if we do what we did to Madrid and to them, then why not? We can take a decent lead, but again, we need to score goals, and that's where the question will always be. How they'll give up opportunities, but we need to be ruthless.
O'Malley says, I think MLS is the key. Hate to say that for an 18-year-old, but that inverted left-back role is so important, and how we played offensively, and how Vivlad said earlier that Ousmane Dembele, of course, didn't play in that first game that we had with PSG earlier this season. He is, of course, looking absolutely sensational. I'm not... I don't want to say I'm not confident. I'm really excited about this tie. I can't wait for it. Like, I've started now imagining comps, and we need a Cullen Davies special for those of you. If you know, he was a classic comp maker, but we need like someone to just get the juices flowing. It's going to be an enormous game at the Emirates. Can't wait for it. But I'm nervous because I think they've got immense firepower, and they might not have the physicality in midfield, but they can play in midfield. Allison, as someone said in the chat, was sensational at Anfield in that first game. Was also very, very good in Paris, and I think they're not going to allow Declan Rice to control how he controlled Real Madrid. Luis Enrique is a smart guy. He would have watched that game. He probably would have watched it a few times, and he's probably now trying to sort of, strategize about how they not control Declan Rice, but how they don't let him control them. So it's going to be very, very interesting to watch. And like I say, in the build up to the game, in the run up to Tuesday night, we will of course have a show that sort of focuses on team and selection. So we'll do that another time. DJ D10 says, very late to the party, but hey, FK and everyone, welcome DJ D10. Thank you for joining us tonight. You can of course watch on demand, and I will put it on as a video podcast on Apple and Spotify, etc., etc. We're closing in on 1 million downloads or something on Spotify and Apple. 1 million listens, 1 million downloads, 1 million plays, whatever. I don't know what the thing is. I'm hopeless with these stats, but I got an email the other day saying that's quite a moment. Zippy says Dembele on the right against Skelly is scary. Skelly can switch off defensive. I've not seen signs of Skelly switching off defensive. In fact, Zippy, he's the one player in the Premier League that's played at least 15 games that hasn't been dribbled past once. That's not to say that it's not going to happen at some point. And of course, Dembele is the character and the quality to be that first person. Yeah.
But this is what you want from Miles Lewis Skelly. Look at this. He's done it against Rodrigo, one of the best in the world. There's nothing to say he won't do it again. We were talking about his season has been phenomenal in terms of what he's come up against and how he's dealt with it. Not to be dribbled past. You're talking about Mo Salah's in that list as well. He plays right wing. So yeah, it's a hard one, but it's absolutely, you know, I think this is, you know, again, this is going to be the making of Lewis Skelly. I think he's going to have a good game as well. I think he's got that capability.
Well, I hope so. We're going to need all of our guns to be firing because it's the third time that we're in the Champions League semi-finals. It doesn't feel like it's the third time. I mean, it's been a long time coming, but that is, of course, our limited history. It's going to be a rocking night, as the Emirates. Vlad saying, need a ferocious atmosphere at the Emirates. They need to feel scared. Dan, still watching, says the Emirates will be rocking. PSG is just another test. The boys have got this. Marino 9 will be on it. And there's been a lot of talk, Wayne, about the Tifos and the matchday atmosphere. Of course, that image there from the Real Madrid game was a sensational night. I don't know if you guys have seen this, Tifo Gate. Forget the image on the right-hand side for a second, but the Ashburton Army, one of their accounts tweeted today or shared this sort of post saying, look, in the last 24 hours, in just 24 hours, Arsenal fans came together to raise over £10,000 to fund what would have been our biggest ever display for the Champions League semi-final against PSG. Unfortunately, the club has declined our proposed design and there won't be a display in the clock end. As a result, everyone who's contributed will be fully refunded, which is a class thing to do. This doesn't change the importance of the game, obviously. You still need every single one of you on it. Bring the noise, back the team like ever before, and thank you for everybody who donated, etc., etc. Those are the three designs that they had. Obviously, this in response to that tifo that maybe Real Madrid sort of dropped about the chessboard and whatnot. I don't know if that was there, but there's also the Viva Vendetta type link. Wayne, they've come in for a lot of criticism. That these aren't really that great in terms of designs. B, for the pylon on the club in terms of, there's no explanation. They're not communicating to the fan base. This is a disgrace. What are Arsenal doing, etc. And I want to sort of caveat this by saying I really appreciate what they do. I think a lot of us appreciate the atmosphere and the vibes they try to bring to the games. The drum, as was seen at the Bernabeu in that second leg, they are responsible for starting off so many chants. I love it. I personally really, really enjoy that. But the reaction today has been really mixed. What's your take on it, Wayne? A, what's your impression of what they've sort of come up with? And B, I saw you sort of tweet about it earlier. So what's your take on all of this?
I try to pick my words really carefully because I know that a lot of people are fans of this fan group. I think it was very silly from them to put out the statement or whatever you want to call it the way that they did. I think this was the second statement. This was like a follow-up one because there was an original one that didn't have the designs that just said the club basically said no. And I really did not like that because that was done in a way to make the club look bad and come off as if it was being vindictive. And there's already a lot of disappointment from fans in sort of the way that the ballot system goes and the way that sort of silver members are treated and red members are treated and the lack of access to games, which I completely get. But this was done to make the club look bad without any sort of context. The full story wasn't shared. Obviously on the right hand side, the full story and the full context has now been given once the club have announced it. But to go out of your way to say the club said no and then just invite the pylon, I thought was really, really bad. And it's not going to help them. You want to have a good working relationship with the club because, like you said, all they're trying to do is create an atmosphere, and all they're trying to do is things that will benefit for some people the match day experience. You don't go about it by doing that. You're just going to sour relationships. Why will if you're just going to put out statements and say the club said no? Why would the club want to work with you when you've not? There are reasons. The club would not just say no. You can't have that. Bye. See you later. We're not going to do anything again. Were the club planning to do something? Well, yes. The answer is yes because they've planned to do something. What were the reasons that they would have said no? Somebody said in the chat it was a copyright thing. I don't necessarily think that would be the case because I think it's fair usage, but I think it's a situation where I don't know. It's a spin on like a Netflix show. The game is being shown on Amazon Prime. Is that sort of a thing there? But the biggest thing that came out of it was mainly due to a time factor. The money was raised sort of a few days before this statement came out, which is completely fair enough. But it means that you were trying to turn around a massive sort of stadium length size tifo in less than a week, and that's just not really realistic. It's not something that they can do, because you have to think about health and safety, you have to think about access to visibility, things like that. So just to come out and say club said no, club bad, Ashburton Army good, I personally didn't like that, and I had no doubt in my mind that the club were going to do something. And I'm very, very glad that they've come out, sort of the club have come out and said, this is what we're doing it on both sides of the stadium. Because against Real Madrid, something as simple as Thierry Henry celebrating against Real Madrid, that tifo was magical. That will live long in Arsenal fans' memories for many a year. And I don't have any doubt in my mind that Arsenal were going to do something for a game of this magnitude. So I just didn't like the way that they were trying to make it seem, because you're not giving us the full story. You're just kind of spinning it in a way that makes you look better than it is.
Well, Cara still, she says the club did the correct thing, rejecting the tifos. AA failed to ask the artist Carl Bork for permission to use the artwork for the Henri tifo, and also didn't credit them. Look, on the right-hand side that you allude to, Wayne, Red Action Gooners, Raymond, of course, our good friend of the channel, and does such a great job on a match day to get the banners up and around the stadium, says, he tweeted earlier saying, it's just been announced by the club, so I can confirm there will be a giant roof banner at the North Bank on Tuesday night for PSG. Personally, I've been pushing for roof banners for at least 10 seasons, so glad to finally get there. Should look amazing. Unfortunately, we're not in control of the image on this banner. Our submitted ideas for this fixture were based around a giant roof banner image, but were declined by the club, citing timeline and production restrictions due to bank holidays, which is a shame. It will still look great. It's been a long time coming, requested at almost every meeting that he's been to, and that he's been to for over 10 plus seasons. It's a shame that he didn't get to produce the image as well, but we shall see what the image is going to be. I mean, a rooftop banner is something that I've never seen before at the Emirates. Obviously, it'd be something that would be quite interesting. In case anybody's wondering what sort of ideas I've got, there's something right there. How about that? Fogging standards, latte foam. How about that? Hey, how about that? Imagine that being unfurled on the Arsenal faithful. Wonderful scenes. But listen, once you stop laughing, I mean, this could be quite special. It could be so good. Something that just sort of flies off the North Bank, rumors of it being a cannon or whatever, and apparently can be visible from both sides because of the material that's being used. So we will be able to enjoy it and to see it. But yeah, terrorist tips. Why do we need a banner of Gandhi? You guys kill me. I appreciate the love though as well. Be glad saying absolutely. I mean, look, it was just banner.
They've got that head is very pointy. I have to say. I know it's AI generated, but man, it's got
AI.
peak on it.
Mate, I'm flipping worked that on Photoshop. No, it's definitely AI pointed. Yeah, and the teeth look weirdly weird. And Adidas are going to sue us, of course, if we decide to use it. I need to get a new fleece. It's about time. But yeah, listen, chaps. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about it. The rooftop banner is going to be pretty awesome, right? I mean, come on, it's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, again, as you said, the Ashburton Army have done great things for the atmosphere. We saw it on the Crystal Palace game actually, and we were lucky enough. There's another little fan there. If you saw live at N5, there was a youngster who was absolutely going nuts, and he was chanting and everything. And the Ashburton Army were kind of that kind of motivating force. So again, I've got nothing but respect for what the Ashburton Army do in terms of atmosphere. But what Wayne said is correct in terms of logistics, all of this kind of stuff. You have to. That does look like Greg Wallace quite a lot.
Oh,
actually.
you guys! Oh man, that's a banner of Spurs' new CEO, Vinay, my boy. Wow, Bake Off. Is there a Bake Off guy that looks like me?
Oh, Matt Lucas.
What? Who? No, I do not look anything like Matt Lucas. Come on, surely. Go on.
But look, the main thing is that.
Polo, wait, one second. It says, may as well just have Josh Kroenke parachuting in at kickoff at this point.
Look, I think the club have realised this is a big match. It's a big occasion, and they're doing something different. As Raymond said, they've never done a roof banner, and they've decided to do it now. So they've again, hopefully it sets a precedent where we do actually get these things on a regular basis for these big games. But you can't knock the club for not trying to create the atmosphere. They've done, actually, I think the Real Madrid game at home, the atmosphere was stunning. And I think the Tifo contributes to it, but I think as well, the firework, the fire show, the music, the light coordination, all of those things, I think they did a really superb job, actually. And I expect the same this time. I think it's going to be a raucous atmosphere, but I think the club at least are trying to do their best they can to help with that. But as Wayne said, they have to do it within parameters. We've worked in the corporate environment. We understand about there are restrictions on everything. We would love to have all our ideas and all our imagination come to life. But the reality is you have to be mindful of multiple entities, health, safety, welfare of people. Having a giant banner that's ill-conceived could go wrong effectively and drop down on the fans, and who knows what could happen.
This is a great shout from BX Gunner 81. If Kevin Campbell from 1994.
Who knows? I mean, you don't know. I mean, we don't know what it is. I mean, again, they went with the Thierry Henry one, and they put the Thierry Henry package
oh my God,
together.
could you imagine?
It's. I think there'll be videos. Do you know what? I think it'll be a video more than the Tifo. I think the Tifo will be a standard Arsenal logo or something like that, because I think
probably just be the cannon. I imagine because white cannon on a red shirt on a red.
Red because material. The timeline. When you say timeline restrictions, etc., and I do get that as well. To produce this kind of, image, etc., we all know we've worked in media, is very difficult to make. It's not.
We've worked in media. Wait, did you see that? It just
his TNT tweet. His TNT tweet has been shown twice.
Look, I'm like, look, my TNT stint is not my only thing. Obviously, I've seen it, and I've, but
he's sometimes on the YouTube, Wayne.
Exactly, but no, I think the club, again, back to the messaging, ill-conceived and a little bit ill-timed, and a little bit of communication and thought around the communication and how it affects the atmosphere. Trying to make it about a group, etc., is not what you want to do. This is the time to come together, where the club, everybody works together to. We're in the semi-finals. Let's make it a big atmosphere. Let's have every group working together. It's not about the individual. It's about the collective now. And I think the club have done well, because they've been very calm about it, but they are trying to create this atmosphere. And I think you can't do nothing but applaud them. I'm looking forward to what it's going to be, because I think this season, actually, they've done better than they have done in the past. They've allowed these designs. They've had more flags. They've tried to generate a bigger atmosphere. And, Mikel said it's part of what we want to do. So I'm expecting a really good atmosphere on Tuesday.
Well, let's wait and see. Emirates has got to be rocking. If you are coming to the stadium, of course, bring your dinner. Bring your brews, bring everything that you've got, bring your voice, sing until your lungs hurt, and hopefully it'll be a fantastic night. And if you're watching from afar, enjoy the spectacle on television, because it's going to be absolutely sensational. I'm sure of it. Ash, by the way, just says 38% of the goals conceded by PSG this season have been from set pieces. There we are. Look, we've done an hour and a half. Let's bring the show to an end, of course, by just looking ahead to the weekend. Sadly, we're not at the semi-finals, but it is, of course, Mikel Arteta's one and only trophy that he's won at the Arsenal. Well, he'd tell you otherwise. Community Shield, he's counting his trophies, but it was a trophy that he's won, a trophy that's close to my heart. It is, of course, semi-final weekend, Wayne. Those are the fixtures. Nottingham Forest play Manchester City. That is a mouth-watering tie. And, of course, the team who we drop points against in midweek, Crystal Palace, will play Aston Villa, your Unai Emery's Aston Villa. What do you think, Wayne? Are you looking forward to both of these ties? Are you going to tune in, and what do you think is going to happen?
I'm really looking forward to the Crystal Palace Aston Villa tie. I love FA Cup semi-finals like this, and I'm so annoyed that Manchester City are there ruining it. Like, it would have been amazing if you had like Nottingham Forest versus Fulham or someone like that. Like, obviously, I want us to win every trophy that we're in, and it would be amazing if we were at the semi-final stage. But Manchester City, even though they've had a really bad season, you wouldn't put it past them being the favourites to go and win the trophy. But I genuinely hope they don't, because the FA Cup is the most special domestic competition in world football. And seeing, if it's not ourselves, seeing someone different win it.
Don't even say Unai Emery. I'm going to come to your house.
No. Listen, if he wins it, switch off your phone, because I'm coming straight for you. But no, honestly, I would love a Nottingham Forest Crystal Palace final. I'd love a Nottingham Forest Crystal Palace final because the FA Cup would mean the world to both teams, and it would mean the world to both fan bases. It would mean a lot to Aston Villa as well, but they've had the Champions League run this year, and the whole sort of Uncle Unai side of it. But I hope genuinely Crystal Palace go on and win it. I've always had a soft spot for them, probably because they're a London club. They always kind of try to play football the right way. They've developed some really, really talented players. And I think if they were to win it, I think they would be like the neutrals' favourite. Nottingham Forest, though, have had a really good season. And I hope that they get Champions League qualification. And if they won a trophy alongside that, like, that's a brilliant campaign for them. But no, I'll be rooting for Crystal Palace personally.
Well, Villa take on Crystal Palace tomorrow at Wembley. That's a 5:15 kickoff. And Sunday, you'll be pleased to know you don't have to watch Spurs bend over for Liverpool because Forest play City at Wembley at exactly the same time. Yem, what are your thoughts on these two ties? As I just bring up a couple of shouts. Matthew Simpson says Forest to beat Manchester City for me. Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa final. That'd be a Midland sort of derby, if you like. Donald says Man City and Villa will do it as a formality. DJ D10 sharing the echo, sharing the sentiment, Wayne. Anyone but City, please. Ian, by the way, just shouting out BBC Gossip saying we're after Koundé. Mate, Dean Howson, he's the one. There's only one Spanish guy. £50 million over 3 years. It is Arteta DNA. What are your thoughts, Jembele?
I would love Man City not to be going through, but really annoying to say they found form in the last couple of weeks.
But Forest are still there, man.
They are, and they're really good. Do you know what?
Espírito Santo. Sasa. He's got a chance.
Sasa's got something. I think it's going to be a good tie. I just think Man City have got the weapons that they will.
They've just got quality, haven't they?
Yeah,
Mind
that's
Forest, Forest are really good in that final third, and it's not been a surprise to see links of Morgan Gibbs White being linked to City in the run up to this game. But like Elanga, Hudson Odoi, Chris Wood, Gibbs White,
yeah,
and you never know. You never know,
and they will give a game, and that's the thing that this City defense is still gettable, but they have found form, even without Erling Haaland. Actually, they seem to have found form. Some of the youngsters have started to show up. Like Riley, etc. So they're weaker. They're not what they were, but I still think they have enough quality to get through, and I think they will. And I don't. But it's going to be a close one. I think Nottingham Forest will run them close. I could see it being a 3-2, for example. City, the Palace Aston Villa one is. I would love to say it's more close than it could be, but I think Villa actually are going to overpower them. I think Villa are, as much as I don't like Unai Emery, I think he's done very well this season. I think they've got the quality. They've got players who will change games. If Asensio and Rashford are not doing it, they bring on Watkins. It just feels like it's a step too far for Palace. And I think Palace going hard in the midweek, I don't think was a good idea. I think Glasner needs to. I think he'll come to bite him tomorrow, personally.
Well, I mean, we can't say that it works for some teams to just keep people ticking over and keep them fresh and fit, and then say that,
No, but
Glasner's messed it up by playing a strong team. So let's hope that Palace and Villa is a great game. Let's hope that Forest can bring a major performance to Manchester City, and let's hope for a team that's not won it in a long time, or for a team that's never won anything. Crystal Palace would be their first ever domestic trophy. That would be sensational.
Say it was a Nottingham Forest Palace final, and Forest get into the Champions League. Does the place go to Palace then? The Euro place?
You what? Ask that question again, mate.
So if Nottingham Forest make the Champions League Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace make the final. Say Nottingham Forest win the cup. Does Crystal Palace get the extra European place? Because obviously the Champions League takes precedent.
I don't think it goes directly to Palace. I think it goes to the league.
Oh yeah, that's right. It goes to the league, doesn't it? So we would
get.
You know that meme where that guy is like looking at trigonometry and those shapes. That's like where my head's at right now.
all right, FK. Let's break it down. The winner of the FA Cup qualifies for the Europa League if they're not in Europe. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
If Nottingham Forest win, or even Manchester City.
You've already lost
win-
him. Look, you can tell
win
you've
the
already
FA
lost
Cup.
him.
I'm glazing over. Like, let's just wait until the end of the flipping.
He needs
season
like
to figure it out.
the
You know
child's
what? You know what? I'm
version
not
of this.
concentrating because Vlad's just sent this my way. Are we seriously not going to see a slide about Calafiora's new?
I know.
Adidas? Have you seen this guy?
He's the is it? Is
Laura
this
Kirk.
was the line true? Was the
Laura
line true?
Kirk.
This is the
You know
first
what?
underwear model for
Laura Kirk and I
Adidas.
are on. We chat on WhatsApp quite often, and she sent me some videos and footage of the photo shoot videos that Calafiori's done, and obviously he's not wearing much because of the merch that he's promoting. And then I looked at the image bank that Laura and I have sent each other over the last sort of like 3 months. It is literally Riccardo Calafiori. We are both swooning over Calafiori. And just the odd sort of like gym videos of her doing her flipping weights and showing off about how strong she is. Insane, just insane. This Adidas relationship. But no, we shall not have a slide tonight because everyone's going to go to bed, and that's not going to help anyone. Listen, I think we're going to. DJ T10 says, "What the hell was Snapchat?"
Oh, talking of which, Yem, what was yours?
Oh,
I was in a rush. I was rushed. I haven't got anything.
Do you know what?
That's the best snack check you've ever had.
You've ever done.
There's one for you. There's one for you. Take them both.
I love that. Hand of Arsenal's in the house this evening. Latte Foam Ultras. Evening to you, my friend. What a fixture we have ahead of us. We're going to leave it there, ladies and gents, boys and girls. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for making the time. So many of you stay for the entire duration of the show, and I really, really am grateful. Like I said, closing thoughts. Look, disappointing. So obviously peter out of the Premier League title race, injuries and some decisions and some results just haven't gone our way. It's no deeper than that. Let's dust ourselves off. We've got Champions League football coming up next week, home in the first leg, and then away in Paris for a chance to go to Munich and play one of Barcelona or Inter Milan. And Liverpool, of course, have the chance to be crowned Premier League champions this weekend. Let's just take it in good grace, do the guard of honor or whatever it is that we have to do. The game is the game, and we go again next season. We'll leave it there. Enjoy your weekends. Enjoy the content. We'll be back with hopefully Julien Laurent to sort of preview the first leg. We'll have a late night latte maybe on Monday night to kind of look ahead to the Tuesday game as well, then the match reaction video and all that sort of jazz. So that's it. And if you want to win an Arsenal shirt of your choice, one of the Arsenal shirts of this season, head over to patreon.com/lattefirm, sign up to become a Patreon member and support the channel in terms of running costs for the price of a coffee a month, and you can be in the draw for that shirt and match tickets and so many other giveaways, as you guys know. If anybody wants to follow Wayne, he's available at Wayne'sWorld20_, co-host of the excellent Can You Believe It podcast. If anybody wants to follow Wayne Yembele, he is at Verge59. DJ D10 says, my snack will be a late night latte with double middle fingers. That's Yembele. There he is. Look at that. I got to freeze that. And big up to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for being such a glorious chat, such a great community. We all really, really appreciate it. Look after yourselves. Until next time, bye for now. Au revoir. Come on.